Okay, couple of things. Housekeeping first. First of all, you'll notice that I changed the group name. So one of the things that we've been doing for a while is that this group that you've been in, well, two groups. First of all, the main Facebook group, which is used to be called Peng Joon's Awesome Students, which is you guys. But one thing I wanted to do for really long, so I had that Facebook group for like, I think 7 years now. But one thing I wanted to change is I didn't want that group to be about me. Like I constantly thought about like, what do I want it to be about? I wanted it to be about you guys. So as a group, as a community, we realized that based on what we're doing, we wanted it about being a game changer, right? So that's why that first group is now called Game Changers. And the second group, which is like a smaller size group, that's for like these coaching calls that we do. Before this, for a couple of years now, it's been called IMC Coaching Students. But a couple of things happen. Number one, like a constant question that we get all the time is like, oh, what is IMC? And like, what does it stand for and what does it do? So my team have to, keep replying the same thing over and over and over again. So rather than calling that, it's now known as the $1 Million Creation, and this is the coaching aspect of it. So just to give you guys clarity on the direction that we're headed towards, ultimately I thought like, what is the main ultimate goal of this entire thing, right? It's to help you build a $1 million funnel, a $1 million creation, a $1 million offer, a $1 million product. And to make that happen, there are like a few components, right? There's the live event, which is Internet Mastery Retreat. There's the coaching calls, which is this. There's the online portal, which used to be Implementation Blueprint, but we went through everything again, and we are now rebuilding everything, revamping everything, the framework. And we want to be able to give you access to that entire portal for free, right? So is it okay if we over deliver? Would that be all right? Yes. Okay, so great. So all of you are getting access to that. So I want you guys to know that, the thing that I'm absolutely obsessed with is how I can get you guys results to really support you guys. So the portal is pretty much finalized. It will be out in the next 3 days. All of you are going to get the logins and access to that when my team has it finalized. But that's pretty much the changes that we've been working on. There's a lot of things that's been going on behind the scenes, and it's really because of our obsession in terms of serving you at the highest level. Okay, so like this entire thing that we're on right now, $1 Million Creation, the coaching aspect is the framework where we've now broken it down into like the insight, right? Which is like, what's the next thing that you need to work on? Okay, so that being said, let me just quickly look at who's here right now. Right now on today's call, we have Queena, Kirana, Tony, Jason, Ileana, Trang, Clarissa, Boon, Kiko, Han, Mohammed, Rosanna, Chok, Nithya, Yushi, Pearly, Harm, Jacqueline, Nuthanun, Henny, Likfun, and Marcus. Okay, great. So welcome to today's call. Today, I am very excited. We are going to begin by sharing with you like where we're at. Okay, so I always want to begin our calls by showing you where we are. I appreciate you taking your Wednesday nights, well, depending on which time you're at, to be here. So let us begin. I'm going to start off by sharing my screen. Okay, can you guys do me a favor and just give me a thumbs up if you see my screen? This should be up there. Okay, great. Thank you, guys. Okay, we are going to officially begin. Here we go. Welcome, everybody. So today we are going to be talking about funnel tweaks. In particular, step number 6 now, the step that we're on is called offer tweaks. My team is actually, they just worked on this, but we've decided to call this offer tweaks. And I'll kind of share with you how our coaching session works is I'm constantly thinking about like this step and how I can best coach you guys and give you guys feedback. So a couple of things when it comes to coaching guys and giving guys feedback. So like I know some of you, you've been sending my team questions, homeworks, proposals, let me just kind of share with you what I know will serve you guys best in terms of having everyone work together towards the same direction. Okay, so like the step that we're on right now, which is step number 6, and you guys will have this handout. I know that this will go out together with your logins. But basically phase 2 right now that we're on is about monetizing, right? Generating that very first sale. Now this step over here, step number 6, is actually making tweaks on your offer, having clarity on what it is that you offer. And then phase number 3 is about scaling that to 6 figures. Okay, now I'm going to give you guys a small preview and tease you guys a little bit on what phase 3 is, just really quickly. Okay, but basically what phase 3 is, it is over here. Okay, it is scaling that to 6 figures, and you can see that at the end of each phase, there is a tweak, which means after we go through all the steps, which we haven't gone through yet, the final step of each phase is to coach you guys on what you have done, where I'll take a look at 3 things. Okay, I believe that in order to build $1 million creation, there are 3 main things to look at. Number 1 is your offer. Number 2 is your funnel. And number 3 is your traffic. So phase 4 will be traffic tweaks, because once you have built the funnel up, then it's all about taking a look at your traffic source, your ads, how much you're paying per registrant, cost per click, all that kind of stuff. So I want you to kind of understand how this coaching will best serve everybody, okay? It would be like this. Phase 1, super simple, right, is basically the opt-in funnel. Phase number 2 is creating your offer and to monetize. Therefore, at the end of all of the steps, which is this, okay, we will do an offer tweak. We've decided to call it an offer tweak. I know it says here funnel tweaks right now, but basically, this is when, if you've been doing your homework, you'll be able to show it to me, and I'll be able to give you feedback on what your current offer is. And I'll walk you through that process in this very presentation. And then once you've done that and you have clarity on what your offer is, that's when we move on to phase number 3, and I'll talk about funnel building, whereby at the end of the phase, we'll take a look at different funnels that you've built up. Probably like a webinar funnel, and take a look at where the weakest link is and how you can make improvements. And once you've built that and you start driving traffic into the funnel, that's when we'll move on to phase number 4, which we'll do, where the last step is about traffic tweaks, right? We want to find out your sources of traffic, whether you're paying too much, how do you scale your winning campaigns, which are the numbers you should be looking at, and really making tweaks to those things, okay? So in order to get everybody kind of like at the same level, the same step, so that everybody can make the most of it, this is how we can really focus on these 3 things in terms of me coaching you and giving you feedback, so that the questions are not all over the place, okay? So like my team sent me a couple of questions. So for example, I got an email saying, you know, Peng Joon, I have this great opportunity to invest in this thing, and should I, you know, go into this investment? How can I make the most of that investment? So here's the thing, like, and then my team was sent this 48-page slide deck. Okay, so what I'm saying is, yeah, I can see you smiling over here. So here's the thing. It's not that I don't want to go through the 48-page slide deck, but ultimately, if I did, like the other people on the call, the other people that's watching the replay, they wouldn't know like how that's going to be applied to them, right? So I have this need to serve the masses, and in order to do that, we need to make sure that things are within a certain theme, okay? So I know that if we keep the questions to these 3 themes, how can I make a better offer and change my tweaks to my offer, which is phase number 2, right? How can I make the tweaks to my funnel, which is phase number 3, by understanding, you know, my numbers in my registration page, my thank you page, my show up rate, my close rate, because those are all funnel tweaks. And if we can keep the questions to how can I make the tweaks on my traffic, that is how everybody will be able to benefit from one person's question. All right, does that make sense? So this is where, for the very first time, on this session today, we are going to do and work on the offer tweak. Now, if you go to, now I put up a bunch of questions, and I just posted this in our Facebook group called the $1 Million Creation Coaching Students Group. And if you want these questions, you can just copy and paste them. That is on my on the Facebook group. Guys, you can do me a favor, in fact, right now, if you can open a new tab and go to the Facebook group right now. And one of the things I want to do is, I noticed that, you know, with how Facebook algorithm works, they might not even, you might not even be getting these notifications, these posts, based on your engagement and interaction with the group. So if you guys can do me a favor, just go to this group right now and just get this post and just like this post or something, just to increase the engagement in this group, so that Facebook will see that this group actually matters to you, so that you have more visibility to the group, especially when there is interaction going on. Okay, so you guys can do that right now. Just open a new tab, go to the Facebook group, copy and paste this on like Microsoft Word. At the same time, like this post, so that we increase engagements, so that you will be able to you know, see that from Facebook's algorithm, that this group, you know, is something you want to be part of. Okay, that would be great. Okay, so let's talk about today's main thing. Okay, today is about tweaking your offer and making it better. So right now, back to this example. So back to this example, right now we are over here, right? We are at phase 2, the final step, where I'm gonna show you how to make improvements in your offer, because there's no point building a funnel around an offer that's crap, right? So we wanna make sure that you have your offer right. So this is basically step 6 of phase number 2, which is the offer tweak. Okay, so let's all do this together. Right now, as always, let me just kind of come back to my video for now. Here's the thing, okay? So as with all the calls, if you want to make the most of it, okay, don't let this be a session where you're just sitting down listening to me and while watching Netflix with another tab open or something, okay? Please do it together with me on a new tab, on Microsoft Word, or with a notepad, so that by the end of this session, you have something tangible, something with a clear outcome, right? And that's how you can make the most out of it. Okay, so I would like you to have a notepad or Microsoft Word so that you can type it out on a new tab, right? Close all of the other distractions, and let's begin with the offer tweak. Okay, so as you put this in Microsoft Word, I want you to think about these 9 questions, and I'll go through with them, and I'll walk you through my thought process in terms of how I create all of my different offers, okay? In order to create a great offer, I want you to kind of write down what you think your answers are to these things, okay? So let's take, for example, a book, a funnel that's over here, okay? So many of you know I launched Content Multiplier Formula. I've been talking about it in the last 2 months or so. I launched this funnel about 2.5 months now. Now, when I created this, so now understand that this is a 6-figure funnel, okay? It's 2 months old, done over $200,000 in sales now. And I know that by year end, it will be $1 million funnel, like hands down, just this thing alone. And I want to share with you, like, first of all, this is not theory, okay? This is really the same process that I went through in order to build this. I went through this same process, this same formula in terms of building up this offer. Okay, so for example, let me use this as an example first so that you can see how it applies to you. Okay, so what market did I choose? So obviously this is wealth. What is the red ocean sub-market? Now think about this. This product, okay, is on social media. Social media and internet marketing is the red ocean, right? Everybody's talking about social media, Facebook, content creation. So I know that the sub-market is social media and internet marketing. So I know my red ocean is internet marketing, right? Which is in turn social media. Okay, like this is the red ocean, right? It's highly competitive, where everybody's killing each other with the same material, where everybody's killing each other by trying to lower price. Okay, so what is the current vehicle customers are using to get their desire? So I know that people think in order to get what they want, they turn to Facebook ads, they create content through via platforms like blogging, like Instagram, like Facebook, like YouTube, okay, and all these other different platforms, right? That's their current vehicle. Now, what is their, now again, as I'm doing this, please try to think about how you can apply this for you, okay? Think about what is the current vehicle that they're on? Like, what is their current solution in order to get what they want? Now, once you have identified what that is, then you need to think about what is their current false beliefs. You might have heard me say this in proven presentations, but there are really just three things here: the vehicle, the internal, and the external, okay? So like, for example, what's their false belief about vehicle, okay? So false belief about vehicle is that social media takes a lot of work. You need to hire people to do up content for you, okay? It's probably expensive to do so, right? Facebook ads are getting expensive, right? All these are just different beliefs that they have that I know is false with regards to the vehicle, right? Which is social media. What is the internal, okay? What is internal false beliefs? This is basically the limiting beliefs they have about themselves, right? So things like, I'm too young to do this, I'm too old to do this, I don't have the time, I don't have the capital, I'm not a programmer, designer, coder. So I know that for this part here, it's things like, I don't know social media, okay? I don't know what to post on social media, right? Even if I did know, I'm not a graphic designer, right? I'm not a writer, right? So these are all the different objections that they have about themselves, their inability to execute it. The external is their excuses, right? Which is, even if I'm sold by the vehicle, and even if I believe that I can do it, here's why it still won't work. It won't work. So I understand that social media will help me get there. I understand that I can do it, but here's why it won't work. Because even if I could do it, I would be overwhelmed by the entire process. Okay, I'll be overwhelmed by the entire process because there is so much things to do. Okay, so I want you to think about like how, for those of you, if you have bought content multiplier formula, if you've been through my funnel, and it's a great way to kind of reverse engineer and see my thought process, you will see that this entire sales pitch, or at least go and take a look at my sales pitch at content multiplier formula, you will see that the entire pitch is really answering those three objections. It is basically the entire offer is saying, look, we all know that social media is important. We all know that you need to create content on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. But the problem is this, and you notice that's like the first things I said in the video. The problem is most people, they wake up on a Wednesday morning and they say, I want to be able to take action, but should I put content on my Facebook? Should I put content on my blog? Should I shoot a video? Should I do up an article? Like, what should I do? So I'm addressing the problem right away, right? The vehicle. And then after that, I talk about the internal. Like, so here's the thing, you know, we've got all these different things to do, but what do we do if we are not, you know, writers, if we are not designers, if, you know, and how do we make this happen? Okay. And what if there was a system that can show you how to automate your content creation, but most importantly, monetize through a 9-step process. Okay. So basically how I created this offer was first to scope out what is the red ocean, right? What is the thing that everybody is talking about? And you need to be able to recognize that first for your very own market, okay? The red ocean that everybody's trying to compete on. So the worst thing you can do is to create an offer in a red ocean, okay? And you must know what a red ocean is. So the red ocean, if you're doing Facebook, is Facebook ads, right? Everybody, you need to understand that there's somebody who's willing to sell an entire Facebook ad course on Udemy for like 10 bucks. You need to understand that if they typed in how to install Facebook Pixel in YouTube, they will get 100,000 videos. So that's red ocean. So the last thing you want to be doing is to sell a course teaching people Facebook. So you need to think about what is your current red ocean and what is your hook? Okay, I'll talk about the hook later as we go along, but this piece here is crucial. Understanding what is the red ocean and the thing that the people you are competing with, the market that you're competing with. Okay, next thing is, who did you model, right? If you are familiar in the ClickFunnels community, they use this term called funnel hack, which is really reverse engineering the sales process of somebody who has done it, okay? So like for me, I looked at many different people's funnels for free plus shipping. Okay, so I took a look at free plus shipping offers. So the free plus shipping offers, one was by Tony Robbins. He has got like Money Master the Game. For me, there was Russell Brunson's what's it called, Perfect Webinar, right, which was also free plus shipping. There was .com Secrets, which was also free plus shipping, and Expert Secrets, which is also free plus shipping, okay? So like I am very clear on the model, right, that I want to look at to give me an idea of the offer and the sales process. So you've heard me say this multiple times, the best way to get clear on your offer and what it is you want to do is not by starting from scratch, but by modeling somebody that's already done it, somebody that's already crushing it, okay? So you need to be clear on who it is that you're modeling, okay? This can be somebody in a totally different market, but you know that they're model. So you can see that those people are modeling, like Tony Robbins is a personal development, totally different model, but I know that he's got a book, a free plus shipping model that I can take a look at. Same thing for Russell Brunson. I know that he's got a couple of free plus shipping offers, and I know that because I want to do a free plus shipping, I want to be able to model that as well. So you want to first start off by taking a look at people in your market that's crushing it so that you can reverse engineer and take a look at that, okay? Whether it is a webinar funnel, whether it's a free plus shipping funnel. Okay, once you have done that, and I hope that I can see some of you are already taking notes and doing this for yourself, right? Please make sure that you are taking action as we're doing this, okay? So who did you model, okay? What are your 3 secret headlines, okay? Okay, so this is a little bit more advanced, and this is something that we will dive deeper in the phase number 3, but I want you to start getting clarity on what your 3 secrets are in terms of the process. So what are your 3 secrets? Like, this is more towards like your product, but it will be used as your headline in your webinar as well. But your secrets should always be answering objections on the vehicle, internal and external. Same thing, right? Vehicle, internal, external. So your secret should always be, you've heard me say this, don't teach for the sake of teaching, teach for the sake of answering objections. So if you know what their objections are, okay, which is what you listed here, I want you to be able to take their false belief and turn it into the secret, okay, of your headline that you can use in your webinar funnel later on, or in the messaging of your offer, okay? So secret number one, okay, social media is not expensive, and in fact will give you an unfair advantage if you know what you are doing, okay? So if I wanted to illustrate this further into something that is more specific, I could say, right, discover, and I'm just making this long, by the way, and you can just, copy my languaging and how I, write out my statements. Discover how to decrease your ad cost by 51% following this little known strategy. Okay, so that's secret number one. Okay, so notice what the evolution of how I changed the statements. Okay, so it started from here, right? There are objections, takes a lot of work, you hire people, ads getting expensive. Okay, internal, social media is getting expensive, and from there, I'm creating my headline. Okay, sorry, that's not an internal, but right. So notice how I have my objections on the vehicle. I try to go in deeper, and then I created my headline from it. Okay, so now I know that this actually answers this objection, right? Expensive, Facebook ads get expensive. Okay, so now notice now that my headline is discover how you can decrease your ad cost. Okay, notice how I can now add it into my messaging. Okay, so how I can add it into my messaging is like this. It could be now a Facebook ad where I say, hey, have you experienced Facebook ads constantly increasing? It is said that the price of Facebook ads this year is going to double again. Do you know why? The reason for that is because business owners are finding out that Facebook ads is the way to go, and more business owners are coming on board advertising on Facebook, increasing the demand. At the same time, supply of Facebook ads remain the same because, let's face it, our news feed is already packed with ads, and Facebook can't increase that anymore. So supply is going to be constant. So let me ask you this question. What's going to happen when Facebook ads, demand for Facebook ads increase and supply stays the same? Price will increase. What if I told you that rather than doing what everybody else is doing, which is paying more and more for Facebook ads, you can actually decrease your Facebook ads by having the right content strategy. I'm talking about putting up content on Facebook so that you can create an audience that's engaged with your content, so that you can run ads to your engaged audience, therefore reducing the ads of the cost of your ads, right? So now what I'm doing is I'm actually strategically answering an objection by understanding what the objection is first and turning that into a teaching material. Okay, so that is how I created this first piece. Okay, second piece, right? So internal. So what are the different internal things people will tell themselves? Same thing. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull this off from here. Okay. Okay. So what do people tell themselves? I don't know social media. I don't want to post to social media. I'm not a graphic designer. I'm not a writer. So I know that the thing that they're telling themselves in their inability to execute is that I don't know how to do all this, okay? So now my headline is going to be how to have your content across all platforms without being a designer, writer, or coder, right? For example, okay? So I know that if I want to do a headline that answers that, I can use this headline. Same thing for external. I'm just gonna go a little bit quicker, right? I'm overwhelmed by the entire process, right? So so even if I understand that social media is great for me, even if I understand that I can have my entire content across all platforms, Peng Joon, this sounds like there's so much work. It sounds like I got to blog every single day. It sounds like I got to shoot a video every single day. It sounds like I got to create these different images. And there's like, I would have no life if I did all that. Okay, so headline, what would the headline be? How to streamline the entire process, okay, into an automated system, ... so that all you need to do is step number 1, okay? Now, if you take a look at this, this is something I say over and over and over and over again in my sales letter and sales video of content multiplier formula, right? You'll notice that in my entire messaging, even my Facebook ads, I say, what if there was a process that you can streamline and automate that comes in the form of 9 steps so that the only thing you need to do is step number 1. And step number 2, number 9, you can actually give this to your team, your freelancer, your virtual assistant, and have them done for you so that you still have a life, right? What if all you need to do is step number 1? Okay, so when I do that, I'm doing this strategically. I'm doing that with the sole purpose of answering objections. I want you to know that this funnel, this exact funnel that's doing over $100,000 a month right now, it was no accident. It was created by understanding what is the red ocean, what are the objections people have, and I turn those different objections into teaching points of my offer. Okay, so question from Boone says, about external, isn't external here also in your control, like internal, rather than external factor? Okay, so when it comes to external, when you think about is like excuses. So when you think about like, even if they're sold on the vehicle, even if they're sold by the internal, which they believe that they can do it, what are other things that they might say that says, okay, this still won't work because, okay? So if I taught people sales funnels, what are the different objections about the vehicle, right? If I sell someone and they believe that sales funnels are a way to go, and they believe that, and now they believe that they can do it because they don't have to be a programmer, designer, coder, or writer, the next thing I know that they might tell themselves is, so Peng Joon, even if I learn how to build a sales funnel, this still won't work because I don't know how to drive traffic. So even if I build a sales funnel, I don't know how to drive traffic, so this thing won't work. So I know that I need to answer and address that objection in my teaching material. So then that's when I'll say, so for those of you that's wondering, so what if I build a sales funnel? I still won't know how to drive traffic. So I want you to understand that traffic is not the problem, because anybody can go to Facebook, click one button that says boost post, and Facebook will send you unlimited traffic. So now the question is whether you have the sales funnel in place so that for every $1 you spend on traffic, you can get back $2 in return, right? So now I am addressing the external, right? Other excuses that they might have, okay? When it comes to doing this, okay? So guys, if you can do me a favor, right now, what I'd like you to do is rather than posting your questions here, I want to be able to look at your questions in the Facebook group, as well as what you've written, so that I can be able to coach you guys over here, okay? And that is how we can increase the engagements in here as well. So as you guys are doing this, I want you to just kind of copy and paste your answers, what you've been doing over here, so that I can take a look at them and so that I can coach you and make improvements to what it is that you're doing. Okay, so right now, whatever you have, even if you don't have the entire thing right now, can you just go ahead and just post it over here, okay, and just paste over here. We'll take a look, okay, and I will go ahead and answer your questions in here. Okay, great. So I can see some questions coming in. I will take a look at all these different questions. So start posting them in here as you do this so that I will be able to answer your questions, okay? So back to the 1, 2, 3, okay? So now that you have this listed out, okay, I'll come to your questions in a second and give you feedback. Next thing, okay, let me just finish this up real quick and then I'll take on what it is that you have wrote down in the order of which you make the comments, okay? So start putting your comments in here and I'll be able to coach you. So very briefly outline your 3 secret stories. Now you've heard this standard saying over and over and over again, which is, you know, facts tell, but stories sell, right? So in order to illustrate the power of your 3 secrets, you need to explain your 3 stories that explains these 3 secrets, right? Amateur marketers will make statements, okay? Now, what does that mean? Statements means, so let me give you an example of how a normal average marketer would have said this, okay? A normal amateur marketer would have said, did you know that you can reduce your ad cost by 51% by creating a custom audience on Facebook based on people that have engaged with your content? Now, first of all, that sounds super technical. It sounds really dry and sounds really boring. And people who talk like that, which is filled with technobabble, will not convert because people don't know what you're talking about. However, if I came from the angle of a story, okay, here's how I would do it. Imagine if I were to illustrate this thing here by sharing a story. And this story could be something along the lines of, so when I first started off my journey on Facebook, I did exactly what everyone else did. I did exactly what other Facebook marketers did, which is create an ad and run it to an audience based on their interest. So I started doing that, and while I did that, I noticed it was really expensive and it was hard to make a profit. However, I made this little tweak, and this little tweak was when I took a look at all these other marketers, I noticed that one thing that these 8-figure marketers had in common is they were putting out content on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, like every single day. Not just like once a day, but like 4 times a day. And I was thinking like, why do they do that? Like, is there a reason for that? So what I did was I created one video and I put it up there. And rather than running an ad, I just boosted that video that sold nothing. And then after that, what I did was I created an ad targeting the people that watched at least 50% of my video. And I realized that the ad cost running it to people that has consumed my content before was at least 50% cheaper. And that was when I realized that running ads on Facebook and getting an unfair advantage was not about creating ads and running them to cold audiences, but having an unfair advantage of creating content first, giving value, and then only running ads to the people that has consumed my content. Okay, so that would be the story in order to answer objection number 1. Okay, so I can talk about stories all the time. Okay, so I could take a look at, you know, so same thing here. If I were to talk about the story for secret number 3, right? So like the first story number 1 would be unfair advantage on Facebook, right? Secret to explain number 2, number 3, same thing. I'm just thinking about the stories. The story over here for secret number 3, if I wanted to streamline the entire process into an automated system so that all you need to do is step 1, okay, it would be this. It would be, so I started creating this content and soon enough, I started to become overwhelmed. And I told myself like, how is it possible that all that people create content across all these different platforms, like, and still have a life. Like, how is that even possible? So I sat down and I thought to myself, like, how can I streamline this process? Because surely there must be a better way. So I decided to streamline this entire process where all I need to do now is step number 1, which is shoot a video. Step number 2 to 9 is completely automated, where I give it to my team and I tell them, you know, get it done. So that's how I created a system that enables me to post content on social media 2 to 4 times each day across Facebook, YouTube, Google, Instagram, and still have a life, right? In fact, the only thing that I do is once every 4 months, I take 3 days off to do step number 1. And that's it. And that takes care of my entire content strategy for next 4 months. Okay, so those are the different stories that I'm constantly telling over and over and over again, because I know it is strategically answering objections. Okay, so let me just switch this off a little bit quicker. So that is how I think about all of my stories and do all of them. Okay, so let me just go back over here. So let's see. Okay, comments in here. Guys, I see a few comments in here. I just want to keep it to one place now and just want to try this out. So can you post all of your questions? Jason, I see your question as well. Can you post it all inside Facebook over here so that I just need to look at one place? Okay, so please post what you've been writing and what you've written in this session on the comments there so that I can take a look while I finish this up. Okay, so what is your stack slide and what is your webinar headline? I think I want to leave this out for the next session because this thing is heavy. But right now, I want you to be clear on these things over here. Okay, so